Did you see what happened at Indian Wells after the match ended? The cameras were still rolling. Fans were leaning over the barriers with phones and flags. And there she was, smiling, signing autographs one by one like every single person mattered. Now here's the crazy part. This wasn't a Grand Slam champion doing a victory lap. This was a 20-year-old still climbing the rankings. And yet the crowd around her looked like she had already won multiple majors. That moment right there explains something tennis fans are only just starting to realize. The Alex Eala effect is real. And if you watched Indian Wells closely, you probably felt it too. Because while everyone is talking about rankings, results, and the upcoming showdown with Coco Gauff, something much bigger is happening around Eala. She is quietly becoming one of the most important personalities in tennis right now. And according to former pro Coco Vandeweghe, what she saw at Indian Wells proves exactly why Eala is great for the sport. But here's the twist most people haven't noticed yet. The real reason Alex Eala might change tennis has almost nothing to do with her forehand, her ranking, or even her wins. And by the end of this video, you might understand why some fans already believe she could become the next global superstar of the sport. Before we dive deeper though, I want to hear from you. If Alex Eala faced Coco Gauff tomorrow in a massive final, who would you pick to win and why? Drop your prediction in the comments because this rivalry might be just getting started. Now let's talk about what actually happened at Indian Wells. For those who missed it, Alex Eala picked up an impressive win over Dayana Yastremska to move into the third round of the tournament. That alone is a solid result. Indian Wells is one of the biggest events outside the Grand Slams, often called the unofficial fifth major, because of how competitive the field is. But the conversation after the match didn't revolve around just the scoreline. Instead, it revolved around what happened off the court. During a segment on Tennis Channel Live, Coco Vandeweghe was reacting to footage of Eala interacting with fans. The clip showed something that honestly looked different from the typical quick autograph routine we see from most players. Eala was taking her time, signing hats, signing shirts, taking pictures, talking with fans, and doing it with genuine energy instead of rushing through the moment. That might sound small, but in modern tennis, it actually stands out more than you might think. Players today travel constantly, deal with packed schedules, media obligations, and pressure from every direction. So many of them understandably keep fan interactions brief. But Eala seems to treat those moments like they are part of the job she loves the most. That's what caught Vandeweghe's attention. She said, watching that moment was great for tennis. And she explained why. In her words, players like Alex Eala represent something bigger than just themselves. They represent communities, countries, and new audiences that feel connected to the sport through them. For Eala, that connection runs especially deep with fans from the Philippines. Wherever she plays around the world, Filipino flags show up in the crowd. And if you've ever watched one of her matches live or online, you've probably noticed how loud those fans can get. It almost feels like a home match no matter which country she's playing in. That kind of passionate support doesn't happen by accident. It happens because fans see something authentic. And authenticity is rare in professional sports today. But here's where the story gets even more interesting. Because while the fan connection is incredible, Eala is also starting to back it up with serious results. Her win at Indian Wells set up a mouth-watering third-round clash with Coco Gauff. And if that matchup sounds familiar, it should. These two players faced each other not long ago, and the tennis world is starting to realize this could become a fascinating rivalry. On one side, you have Coco Gauff, already a Grand Slam champion, and one of the biggest stars in sport. On the other side, you have Alex Eala, still building her career, but rising fast enough to make people pay attention. Whenever a young player challenges an established star, the storyline becomes irresistible. But the difference here is that Eala already brings massive fan energy with her. That means every matchup instantly feels bigger. And tournaments love that. Crowds love that. Broadcast networks definitely love that. But there's another layer to the Alex Eala phenomenon that deserves attention. Her rise has been unbelievably fast. Just a short time ago, she was still seen as a promising young talent trying to break into the tour. Now she's hovering just outside the top 30 in the rankings. That kind of jump doesn't happen without serious improvement behind the scenes. Her movement around the court has become sharper. Her shot selection is smarter. And mentally, She seems far more comfortable playing on big stages. Those are signs of a player learning quickly. But what really separates Eala from many rising players is the emotional connection she builds with the crowd. When she wins a big point, the reaction from fans is immediate. The noise level spikes. Phones come out. Social media clips start spreading within minutes. And suddenly a match that might have been a normal early round battle turns into a viral tennis moment. If you think that sounds exaggerated, just look at the numbers. Videos featuring Alex Eala regularly generate more views than clips from players ranked higher than her. Press conferences involving Eala often pull massive engagement online. Even practice footage featuring her tends to travel quickly across tennis communities. That kind of attention usually takes years to build. Yet, somehow she has created it almost overnight. And yes, some fans are already calling it the Alex Eala effect. So what exactly is that effect? In simple terms, it's a combination of performance, personality, and representation. She plays exciting tennis. She treats fans with genuine warmth. And she represents a country that has been waiting for a global tennis icon. When those elements collide, something powerful happens. The sport starts reaching new audiences. Young kids in the Philippines suddenly see someone from their country competing with the best players in the world. They start dreaming about doing the same thing. And that's how tennis grows globally. But we should also keep expectations realistic, because the path from rising star to Grand Slam champion is never easy. Even players with huge talent sometimes struggle once the pressure increases. The higher you climb in the rankings, the tougher every opponent becomes. Every match turns into a battle, and every weakness gets exposed eventually. That's why the upcoming clash with Coco Gauff is so fascinating. Gauff already knows what it feels like to carry the weight of massive expectations. She experienced that pressure when she burst onto the scene as a teenager. Now she has the experience, the titles, and the confidence of a champion. Eala will be stepping onto the court against someone who has already navigated the chaos of global attention. And that's the real test for any rising player. Can you keep growing when the spotlight becomes blindingly bright? So far, Eala seems to be handling it remarkably well. She speaks calmly in interviews. She acknowledges the support of Filipino fans wherever she goes. And she constantly reminds people that she's still learning. That humility might actually be one of her biggest strengths. Because the moment athletes start believing their own hype, the game has a way of bringing them back to reality. But Eala doesn't seem interested in hype. She seems interested in improvement. And that mindset could take her a long way. Now let's talk about the fan base for a moment, because this part of the story might be the most surprising of all. Even though she isn't ranked in the top 10 yet, Eala might already have one of the most passionate fan bases in tennis. At several tournaments, the stadiums where she plays become packed far earlier than expected. Sometimes fans line up outside, hoping to get in if seats become available. That kind of demand is usually reserved for legends of the sport. Yet here we are watching a 20-year-old create similar energy. And the atmosphere can be electric. Chants, flags, phones recording every rally. When you combine that with Eala's willingness to connect with people after matches, the loyalty only grows stronger. Fans remember those moments. They tell their friends about them. And suddenly the fan base expands even more. But here's the question the entire tennis world is quietly asking. Can the Alex Eala effect translate into championships? Because popularity is powerful, but titles are what ultimately define careers. This is where the next few seasons become incredibly important. If Eala continues improving and breaks into the top 20, the conversation will change dramatically. Suddenly she won't just be a rising star. She'll be a legitimate contender at major tournaments. And if she reaches that level while maintaining her connection with fans, tennis might be looking at its next global superstar. That might sound like a bold prediction right now. But remember, the sport has seen this pattern before. Young players capture hearts first, then slowly build results that match the excitement around them. The difference with Eala is how quickly everything seems to be happening. Her fan base exploded, her ranking jumped, and her visibility in the sport skyrocketed almost simultaneously. Very few players experience that kind of momentum, which brings us back to Indian Wells. because what happened there might actually represent the beginning of a new chapter in her story. Beating Dayana Yastremska showed that Eala can compete at high levels in major tournaments. But the scenes afterward revealed something even more important. She is becoming a player people feel emotionally invested in. That's not something statistics can measure. Yet it's often the secret ingredient behind the biggest sports icons in history. Fans don't just watch them. They feel connected to their journey. Right now, Alex Eala's journey is only getting started. And the next challenge waiting for her is Coco Gauff. Two young stars, two massive fan bases, and a matchup that could hint at the future of women's tennis. Whether Eala wins or loses that match, one thing already seems clear. Her presence in the sport is growing faster than anyone expected. And if she continues playing fearless tennis while staying true to the personality fans love, the Alex Eala effect might only be entering its first chapter. Now I want to hear your opinion. Is Alex Eala already one of the most exciting young players in tennis? Or do you think the hype is getting a little ahead of the results? Let me know in the comments, because the tennis world seems divided on this question. And if you enjoy deep dives into the biggest stories shaping the tennis world, make sure you stay connected with Tennis IQ, because this channel is all about exploring the moments, personalities, and rivalries that make this sport unforgettable.